Bob's Lake. Wife and I have parked ourselves here for a couple of weeks. It's actually a little bit too bright, so I won't shine it that way. There we go. I'm surrounded by woods on the lake, and my blood pressure is down somewhere around 20 over 10, something like that. Very, very calm, peaceful spot. And the question I wanted to throw your way with this video is, if you had 1 week left, what would you do with it? A few years ago, a friend of mine mentioned to me this film that he'd seen called 1 Week, and funnily enough, I believe it's a Canadian film. The main premise is that the main character of the film is told he's got terminal or near terminal cancer, needs immediate treatment, and I guess he's told he's got 1 week left, and he goes on some crazy harebrained journey rather than to get the treatment. And I haven't even seen the film, fun enough, but the whole idea of it, oh, that's an interesting question to ask. What would I do with that if I was told I had 1 week left? And almost immediately I thought about it. I started to think, what would I do? How would I spend my last week? I immediately realized there's a problem with it. How do you know you got 1 week left? I haven't, by the way, been told that I have 1 week left. Don't worry about that. How do you know you got 1 week? What if it's 2 weeks? A day? And that immediately made me think, there's a better question to ask. It's what really matters. What's really important? What is the most important few things to spend your life doing, to spend your time with? So I took that original question, how do you spend your last week? And I started to play with the time frame. 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour, 10 minutes, 1 minute. How would you spend your last minute? Told you got 1 minute left. How would you spend it? Well, I sort of thought about that, and I thought, well, if I assume that the hospital scene, I've got 1 minute left, and my wife and kids are there, I'd tell them I love them. I'd thank them for having enriched my life, which they very much have. And that's probably about all the time I'd have left. All that I've left to do. So I've made a point, as often as much as I can, of telling them that, because you never know when. It's pretty unlikely you're going to get told at any one point in time that you got 1 minute left. But if I plan that into the way I run my life, that way, if the worst thing does happen, I've taken care of it. Okay, so now adjust the time frame a little bit more. 10 minutes. What would you accomplish in 10 minutes? Well, I'd probably have enough time to make a phone call to somebody that I hadn't seen in a long time, just to say thank you, hello, goodbye, thanks very much for having enriched my life. Adjust it again. An hour, a day, and keep taking it forward like that. And gradually, you find that there's really relatively few things that really matter in life. They almost all revolve around people, specific people that you realize those people matter more than anybody else. You give those people the lion's share of your time, the lion's share of your attention, the lion's share of your love and trust. And so that's just an interesting thought experiment I thought I'd throw your way. I suggest you do it. So literally take that question of, you got 1 week left, and take it all the way down to an absurd point. 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, etc. And then you can scale the other direction as well. You've got a month, 6 months, 12 months. Because every time you change the time frame, you change what's possible. But if as you lengthen the time frame, you keep everything that you learned down at 1 minute and 10 minutes, you keep that in there, then you know that when the worst thing happens, you don't have any regrets. You don't end your life. You don't end that minute, that 10 minutes, with any regrets whatsoever. All right. enough said for me for today.